pretty good, ready to go here today. So we'll get out there. It was a little wet, but looks like the morning blew most of the slop off, so should be a pretty good day. I think they took rain out of the forecast now, so decided to get out here and pound some woods.
You know something? I think we need to wake up a little bit. South Carolina, are you ready to go? GNCC Racing! Second.
Pick the action up. That is still the three-way battle we're watching on screen right now of Walker Fowler, Cole Richardson, and Adam McGill. And I'll tell you, if Adam McGill can stay here, he might have himself in a really good position. We know that Hart was running, according to timing and scoring, about 20 seconds off the pace of Adam McGill, which would have put him somewhere in the neighborhood of 23, 24 seconds behind that leader that we're looking at with the white and blue on there. GNCC.
We're probably running at 75%, and that's the part that makes me really excited, is there's still so much more in the tank.
To the 2021 season, there was much anticipation surrounding Bryce Neill and Walker Fowler. They haven't disappointed as Walker Fowler coming off 3 wins in a row, but today we return to the Big Buck property for the Tiger Run GNCC, a location where Bryce Neill took the win here earlier this year. Can Bryson return to his winning ways, or will Walker Fowler make it 4 in a row? GNCC on RacerTV, coming up next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Buck Farm for our second time here in the 2021 season at the Turner Family Farm, and of course for this time the Tiger Run GNCC. It's all being presented this weekend by our good friends at Dunlop Tires. Remember, ride Dunlop. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes, as we'll be giving you the race call throughout the course of the day today. And Mikey, I tell you what, the stage is set on an amazing season so far. I mean, when this one started out at Big Buck back in February, I mean, we had no idea what was going to happen, and the things that have happened since that time, both on 4 and 2 wheels, have been utterly amazing. And of course, at the end of the day, we thought it could likely be an all Bryce Neill season. But since that first round of the Big Buck GNCC back in February, a lot of things has happened, and one of those has been that Walker Fowler has basically gotten into an unstoppable mode, winning 3 of the last 4 races, and of course some issues for Bryce Neill throughout the course of his racing. Last races, we're catching some highlights there from our specialized race recap, are from the Camp Coker GNCC, where we saw all the key players getting out front there early on. Bryce Neill, Walker Fowler, we see Hunter Hart, we saw Jared McClure, and of course the 521 of Adam McGill, who had a stellar run there in that day as well. And you can see even with the stellar run that Walker Fowler had, he as well came up with a few little things that popped up in the trail there, so it created a really great race, I felt.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rodney. I mean, Walker Fowler, obviously confidence very high coming into this one with 3 wins in a row, but last time we were here, Rodney, it was Bryce Neill taking the checkered flag, and he's had some bike issues, some mechanical issues the last couple of rounds, so you know if anybody's feeling good about coming back here to the Big Buck property, I gotta believe it's Bryce Neill today.
Bryson, I'm sure it'll kind of give him a chance to push the reset switch, but you got guys like Hunter Hart, who had some great races so far this season, especially in the first couple of rounds. Expecting big things out of him. Problems for Chris Borch last time. He actually DNF'd that one with some motor issues. Talking with him leading into this weekend, he's pretty amped up. He wants some results. He wants a podium, and don't think that he's not going to go for a win if it presents itself as well. Yeah,
no doubt about it. And back to Hunter Hart, you know, he started the season here with a podium. He backed it up in round 2 with a podium finish, and I believe he's coming off a 5th and a 6th. So, you know, just when we were starting to get hot on Hunter Hart, he kind of falls off and he's back in that bubble position today. It'll be interesting to see if he can make a return to the podium.
And the one name we didn't mention, Cole Richardson. Got to keep an eye on Cole Richardson, no doubt about that. He's had his ups and downs this year. I look for more ups in the coming future as he's readjusting with some program changes from last year. As we take a look at results, Cole Richardson did finish in the number 2 spot after some issues there by Bryce Neill, and of course Adam McGill finishing up in that number 3 spot, as we talked about. Sneaky Snake, he's wanting to be a Cobra this weekend, he says, as he finished 4th, and it was Hunter Hart, Devin Feeham, Wesley Wolf, Josh Merritt, Johnny G in the top 10, and Austin Abney, the rookie, rounding out that top 10 there at Camp Coker in that XC1 Pro class, which gave us a great race. And in talking with Austin Abney too, he says this Pro class ain't no joke. And he's looking and hoping for bigger and better things out here. As you see it, the point standings looking like that. Walker Fowler starting to stretch things out there. As we look at, we can see 115 points, but more importantly, 3 consecutive wins. Walker can't get the perfect season, but you know in the back of his mind he's thinking, what's better than perfect? Next to perfect, and that would be only losing that first round of racing. Right. I can expect that he wants to try to make that kind of statement. But the first win, you see Bryson got a 2nd place position finish as well at round 3 in Georgia. But those 2 11s that we're seeing there, those are the bad ones. Those are the ones where he had mechanical issues that took him basically out of the race.
Yeah, it's been feast or famine this season for Bryce Neill, and it looks like here in 2021, just like several years in the past, the road to the championship is still going to go through Walker Fowler.
Most definitely. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, with that being said, you know, we've had all that great racing going on up front in the XC1 class, but the XC2 Pro Am class has really kind of been overshadowed by the amazing things that have been going on with the XC1 Pros. But look at Ronnie Rush. I mean, this is a kid that's been quietly winning some races the last couple of rounds. He's been a heck of a starter all season long. Solid starter, there's no doubt about it. Opened up with a 6th here at Big Big Buck the first round, but since then, when we went to Florida, when we went to Georgia, when we were at Camp Coker, I mean, this kid was basically spot on. As you can see, his record's nearly as perfect as Walker Fowler's there in those last 3 rounds.
Yeah, Ronnie's a guy that, obviously round 1 here wasn't that good for him, so here's a chance for redemption. The scary thing for the XC2 class is Ronnie Rush, he's a PA boy, Pittsburgh. So once we leave Big Buck, we go into Indiana, but then we start getting up in North, and he's got to feel good about this momentum he's carrying.
Well, you see Wyatt Wilkin, winner of the first race, he's had some struggles. He's back in 9th place position. A rider that might be a little bit of a surprise, won round 2 down in Florida, Ben Kowaleski.
Yes.
This kid, I mean, I'm not going to say he's a virtual unknown, but he's not really staked some big claims in the past, so we haven't really had a chance to talk about him in monumental ways, but man, he is riding monumentally here in the 2021 season.
Yeah, Kowaleski's a guy that I told him, man, you keep making the podium, I will learn how to say your last name right. I think we're finally getting a whip because he's having some success.
Tanner Walker's going to be another one we can keep on. And I'll tell you, Tanner is one of those guys that's just kind of been back in the back of my mind and just waiting for him to blossom. And this might be the year to see him do it. I mean, he's had some solid rides so far in that XC2 Pro Am class.
It's been a while. When the stage is set, let's take a look at what we're going to take on here today at the Tiger Run GNCC with Jared Bolton and the Yamaha track description.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to Tiger Run GNCC. And if you're going, boy, that sure looks like Big Buck, that's because we're at Big Buck Farm. 2 races here this year, and the track crew is creative enough that we really mixed things up and made this event feel totally different than when we're here for Big Buck. It's obviously a lot greener than we were here earlier in the year. That means it's obviously a lot greener than we were here earlier in the year. That means some of these sections are going to be a little thicker, a little harder to see, and that's going to make less lines in there, provide a little less passing for the guys. That'll make the key for this race to pass anywhere you can find an opportunity. It's going to make for some great racing on a beautiful race course here at the Big Buck Farm. Everybody loves coming here, and that's why we're here twice. But don't call it Big Buck, it's the Tiger Run at Big Buck. That's this week's track description. Back to you guys.
All righty, thanks a lot, Jared. And surprisingly, man, I mean, we've been here and we keep talking about this, going to the same facility twice. Will it be the same racetrack? I'm not thinking it will. And the beauty of it is the weather's totally different. This Tiger Run GNCC is going to be so much different than the Big Buck GNCC, and who knows what's going to happen. Is Bryce Neill going to be able to find the magic again? Is Hunter Hart going to find that magic? What about Cole Richardson? Or will Walker Fowler continue to be unstoppable, Mikey?
I don't know. So many questions. Stick around. They're going to be answered. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll be down on the starting line with those iconic 10-second calls with Rodney Tomlin.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Retailer. Distributor. Manufacturer. Product developer. Parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
The directive: advance human performance beyond biological limitation.
This RacerTV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And good afternoon to the World Wide Web and everyone along at RacerTV.com as we welcome you here to the Big Buck Farm for this 5th round of America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship. It is the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Time now to meet our starting lineup as we get set to meet our top pro riders, the best off-road racers in the world, coming to the line in accordance to points through the first 4 rounds of GNCC racing. And now as we meet our starting lineup, rolling to the line today, first aboard the number 1, fresh off 3 consecutive wins in the 2021 season, a 6-time GNCC champion from Rogers, Ohio on a factory Yamaha, backed by GBC Tires and Fly Racing, Walker Fowler. Second in points, riding aboard the number 7 from Newfield, New York on a Maxxis Ithaca Recreation Sports WPS Fly Racing Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line third today in points aboard the number 4 from Casca, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Elka Moose Racing backed Honda, the Sneaky Snake, Jared McClure. Riding aboard the number 3, 4th in points from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an Action Off-Road GBC MotoWaz backed Yamaha, the Coltrane, Cole Richardson. Fresh from a podium just 2 weeks ago aboard the 521, currently ranked 5th in points from Waverly, West Virginia on an Over Tires Moose Racing Parts Unlimited backed Honda, Adam the Gator McGill. He opened the season with a win right here at Big Buck Farm in round number 1. Since then has had somewhat of a dry spell, looking for redemption from Bidwell, Ohio on a CST Tires Hauser Racing Wiseco Yamaha, Bryce Neill. Celebrating his birthday today, 7th in points aboard the 741 from Myersville, Maryland on an FTR Graphics Fly Racing 9.2 goggles Suzuki, WW Wesley Wolf. Riding aboard the number 8, he is 8th in points from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports, GBC Motorsports Hauser Racing Yamaha, GMA Josh Merritt. He's 9th in points, riding aboard the number 5, 6-time GNCC champion with 75 overall wins on the Chris Sports Racing GBC Action Off-Road back Suzuki, Chris Borich. 10th in points aboard the number 712 from Waxhaw, North Carolina on a Pierce Performance Fly Racing GBC Tires backed Yamaha, John Galata Jr. The 701 from Ithaca, New York on a Custom Access Gold Speed Hauser Racing backed Yamaha, Greg Covert. Riding aboard the number 703, last year's XC2 Pro Am champion from Petersburg, Indiana on an Action Off-Road Maxxis Demery Motorsports Honda, Austin Abney. Celebrating his 27th season as an XC1 Pro, riding aboard the number 13 from Aurora, Ohio on a GBC Fly Racing HMF Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. And the 406 from Windsor, New York on a Fly Racing GBC Tires back to Yamaha, Devin Feehan. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this
the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. And as we turn our attention to this starting line and we look up front, the Monster Energy Activation Transport. Well, my friends, join with me as we say it once again. DJ Chud, remove the meat. The Monster Energy Activation Transport making its way off the starting line now as the stage is set to GNCC Racing, about ready to roll here in South Carolina 2.0. It is actually our third race in the great state of South Carolina, our second race this season here at Big Buck. When we were here back in February, the opening round, it was a much different race course. No leaves on the trees, no foliage under the forest floor, and of course it was a lot more moist, a lot drier today, a lot more leaves. Vision may be a little more impaired than before, but all in all, we are ready to roll with round 5 of America's premier off-road racing championship as we turn our attention to Ricky Towery up in turn number 1 as he gets set to ready these riders, and he lets them know 1 minute before the start of this Tiger Run GNCC. Now the next time we see from Ricky Towery will be a blue flag signaling 30 seconds, as well as a dead engine signal. That dead engine signal sends a hush across the starting line, and the hearts begin to pound as they wait for the signal. The blue flag waves. We are less than 30 seconds away. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we get set to roll through South Carolina here at the Turner Family Farm for the second time. I got to ask you, South Carolina race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? That sounds pretty good, but I know where we are. We're in Union County, so I'm going to ask you one more time. Union County, are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Around that first turn, it's a mad dash. It's going to be the number 1, Walker Fowler, right beside the number 5 of Chris Borch on board that Suzuki. Two of the winningest riders in GNCC going head-to-head as we go down the road to the XC2 Pro Am. Nick Davidson, Trey Cypher, Brody Livingood, Charles Dunn, Grayson Eller, Christian Meyer, Brandon Owens, Kenny Schick, Mitchell Kidd, Daniel Peters, also Albert Jadosh, Ben Kowalewski, TJ Barrett, Wyatt Wilkin. 10 seconds. Dylan Walraven, Ronnie Rush, Curtis Ballsback, and Tanner Walker. And they're off. Row number 2, headed straight to turn number 1. 2:59. Kenny Schick from Newcastle, Pennsylvania on a B&R Motorsports GBC Tire Spider Graphics bag machine taking the early lead as we go down to row number 3. The college age 16 to 21-year-old Davis Brinson. Also Nathan Dearborn, Dalton Keys, Trey Redmond, Ramey Wilkins, and Alex Tiemann. Alan Daniels. 10 seconds. Austin Decker, Dominic Stevens, Keaton Henderson, Wesley Wirtz, Chase Allison, Lane McCormick, Zach Knight, Cody Forrester, Trenton Bexkern, Cody Vanderliner, Caden Ryan, Cameron Abey, Stephen Harrell, and James Galata. Oh, they get it all sorted out. It's a 9:08. Stephen Harrell from Elkridge, Maryland, grabbing the early lead in this College A class today. As we head down to the Junior A 22-plus class, Caleb Edwards, Jacob Allball, Alan Blakeless, Jeremy Ledon, Alex Elioff, Jared Drew, Jay Chandron, Hunter Johnson, Todd Fiddler, Bryson Mollahan. 10 seconds. Mitchell Edelblut, Brad Enderell, also Weston Scott, Gavin Jenkins, Jonathan Cryenbull, Devin Masters, Cody Parmeter, Brady Myers, and Dustin West. Oh, who's going to get this one? The 4:09. James Chadron from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, B&R Motorsports. Pro graphics and custom access back ride. He's going to be a tough one to crack today. Go to the Vet A30 Plus class. Big Papa Pete Pickens, Brad Whitehead, Justin Collins, Luke Reeves, Chris Kirby, Cody Holcomb, Zachary Phillips, Michael Lancaster, and A.J. Coons. 10 seconds. And running the first turn. The 29 Brad Whitehead from Dinkin Spring, Pennsylvania on an ECS Honda JMR Maxxis back drive. A 40 plus up next. Ronnie Kugler also. Brian. Senior A off and roll as we go to the College B class. 16 to 21-year-olds, Jacob Fleming, Alex Nelson, Peyton Dickerson, also goes seconds. Seth Blake, Connor Brandt, Grant Miller, also Colton Dobbs, Hayden Hunter, Kai Arbogast, Hawk, Bryson Harper, Ryan Bailey, Jordan, Denton White, Jerry Cock, also Stewart now front. The 54 machine from Street, Maryland. Junior B 20 plus class coming up next. Corey Pancake, Shane McMillan, Nick May, Zachary Bowles, Robbie Rosenberger, Cody Bosbach, Justin Cotter. Also looking for Dalton Lee, Travis Blanish, William Wallace, Matt No. 10 seconds. Stephen Hannum, Eric Kroger, Trevor Sharp, Nicholas Blaney, and Henry Moore. For 30, Eric Kroger from Greensburg, Indiana. Big Croak Performance, Hilltop Motorsports. That B30 plus. David Kite, Nathan Tickle, Everett Hutchins, Ryan Simmons, Brian. 10 seconds. Nick Kazamarski, also Tim White, Ryan Lecroni, and Eric. Three. Lap from Greenville, Pennsylvania on a Benny Dees on and off road WPS Fly Racing Bag machine. And your senior 40 plus class, the Senior B. 10 seconds. Scott Wilhelm, Steve Combs, Jason Lim, Doug Bailey, Richard C. Ivo Bahale, Justin Jason Kraft, Wesley Smith, Robert Stevens, and Richie McCauley. Our final early. And Hauser Racing back ride. That's going to wrap the start. Back with more here on RacerTV.com to find out. Will any Fowler, GNCC Live.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
The directive: advance human performance beyond biological limitation.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This RacerTV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And I want to welcome you guys back to the round number 5 of this 2021 GNCC Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. This is round number 5, the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Tiger Run GNCC. So, hey, all you at home, I know the jokes are here late, but you know what? It's still funny to me. So there you go. You have it. We're back in Union, South Carolina. If you did not see the starts, we're going to get to some replays on those starts for the XC1 and XC2. And then we'll jump into the racing action. As we take a look at the Specialized start recap, we'll dissect XC1 and XC2 here for you. And again, our second time back to this track this season. Of course, this is plays host the Big Buck GNCC, always round number 1 of the year. We're back for round number 5. Ricky Towery with the waving of the green flag, and our XC1 riders jockeying for position. And how about it? You want an old school GNCC battle? You got it. Chris Borch duking it out with Walker Fowler, and Fowler edging him out for the whole shot. But those two riders, man, wheel to wheel as they headed into the woods of South Carolina and into the dust. More on that in a moment. XC2 replay. A class that's certain to take shape as far as the point standing goes, but without a doubt, some hungry riders out there, and a rider who wants to get out front early, and he looks over the shoulder right there. That's the 259 of Kenny Schick, snagging the whole shot and looking over the shoulder to see who's there in second place. And, boy, fantastic start for Kenny Schick. We'll see if he can hang on to that and maybe fight for a podium finish here today. So there you go. If you're just tuning in, good look at your Specialized race recap. And now we take a look at the Yamaha Racing track map. And this is Boy, about as classic, old school GNCC as you want. Offering you everything you want in a GNCC, and of course our two featured spots, the FMF PowerPoint and the Monster Mile. We always say it may not be a full mile, but you can guarantee it's going to feel like a mile or better. Taking a look at mile marker number 4 right now, and if you folks at home are like, man, it's blurry, that's because it is dusty here. And that dust, I mean, it is an understatement. In some of the open field sections where we're able to get the water truck, not too bad. These woods, this is what everybody from micros to youth to the AM, the 4x4 Pro guys, and the WXC we're talking about. How dusty it is, how important a good start was. So if you are Walker Fowler, if you are Chris Borich, some of those front-running guys, it just had to hit my mute button. I spent running down at the finish line, breathing in this dust, so not super long-winded. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an added factor to this GNCC, no doubt about that. And, you know, coming into today, obviously Walker Fowler coming in with the 3 wins in a row, looking to make it 4 in a row. But we have raced here once earlier this season. Round number 1, we opened the season, and as everyone knows, so much anticipation around Bryce Neill and Walker Fowler. Is this Bryson's year? Well, Bryson came out in round 1. Bam, gets the first win of the season and had the momentum into round 2. Since then, it's been feast or famine. We actually had a chance to catch up with Bryce Neill and get the word directly from him.
Well, we're coming in round 5 here at the Tiger Run Union South Carolina GNCC race, which is a little bit of a tongue twister to say because we're so used to being big buck. Coming off the last round of Camp Coker, unfortunately, we hit a stump on the first lap. Unfortunate issue, we snapped the chain, just snapped it clear in half, and you know, we already had a steering flag. A well broke on us at Florida, so we're behind 8 ball right now, and the last 3 races we wanted to win so bad, and we've been putting in so much work, and definitely feeling we're definitely one of the fastest out there, if not the fastest, and in shape. The bike's working phenomenal. We just don't want good luck. We don't want bad luck. We just want to just be in the middle. Just be exactly what it is, and we're just looking to come out this weekend and get back on track, try to click off a win. You know, the last 3 rounds, when you look at it, you see 3 races that's not what we want, and it's definitely not from a lack of effort. You know, we've been putting ourselves in position, training really hard. We got the speed, but today we just got to put ourselves in good position out front, off the start early. Get out front, it's going to be a little bit dry, a little bit dusty, and then as long as we get out front in the first lap, it should be pretty smooth sailing, and hopefully finish first or second today.
That's a word from Bryce Neill. I mean, Rodney and I, we can sit here, we can speculate. The folks at home and on social media, we can all speculate what's going on in Bryson's head. So good to get the word from him, and pretty good perspective coming from Bryce Neill. Like I said, it has been feast or famine. He's got the win in round 1. He's got a 2nd place finish in round 3, and currently sits, so there you go, right there. The overall points sits points, and look at that, and 11. He knows it. It's not going to get it done when you got a guy like Walker Fowler, whose worst race so far is a 2nd place. So looking like the championship, if you want it, you still got to go through Walker Fowler. But Bryce Neill, look for him to do some big things today. He's got to start clicking off wins. And how about Hunter Hart? First couple of rounds, podium positions for Hunter Hart has fallen off a little bit, 6th and 5th. But hey, 2nd place in the points standings, got to be feeling good. And Jared McClure, a sneaky snake, man, sneaking up there in the overall, sitting 3rd right now. And, of course, Cole Richardson, kind of a similar story to Bryce Neill. Now, Cole's not gotten the win this year, but it has been that kind of, you know, hey, I'm doing really, really well, or, man, I'm having a terrible race. So these guys, you know, getting into the thick of the season, into the meat of the season, going to start getting things figured out. And but right now, points standings starting to take shape. Not to say nothing can happen. Anything can happen. This is GNCC, and today I think you guys are in for a treat. Going to be some gnarly racing action. With that dust, it's going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be a difficult one to keep track of. If you remember, obviously when we were here in round 1, no leaves on the trees yet. Able to get a lot of great drone footage of those guys ripping through the wood. Some of that footage here shortly, but won't be quite as easy to make out as they're rolling out there with all the dust. And it's just a gnarly track, a little different compared to what they ran at Big Buck. Obviously, some of the same sections they had to run through again, but talking with Jared Bolton, a lot, not new trail, but trail that we have not ran here in the last few years. So all that's setting up to be to put on a good show for these guys here today. Again, how about that start? Walker Fowler jumping out front, and Chris Borich chipping away at him right there, wheel to wheel, as they're on lap number 1. We'll get a better idea once we get them on screen here of how things are taking shape in the XC1. Just kind of looking back at the history here, Walker Fowler, 63 wins under his belt. If you're not aware, he sits number 3 all-time. Who's he behind? Well, Bill Balance, who's got 67 wins. So Bill Balance's all-time wins in second. Walker, could surpass that this season. And then, of course, the guy who sits on top with 75. He's out there on the track. That's Chris Borich. And it's kind of interesting. He's up there battling right now. We talked about this morning here at the track during the morning race. I kind of talked about that, about Chris Borich, man. He's still got it in the tank, still capable to go out there and snag wins. He's coming off, he had a mechanical issue last round, so I expect to see big things out of Chris Borich here today. We'll see if he can't put together a podium finish for what I believe would be his first podium finish of the year. And, possibly another win. Could it be win number 76 for Chris Borich? So he's got a lot left in the tank. And so many other storylines as well. Of course, our rookies, keeping an eye on those guys. Austin Abney, Drew Landers, see how they're doing in the XC1. And then, of course, Hunter Hart. Big story coming into this season. I kind of teased him on a personal level, like, hey, man, it's put up or shut up time. He comes out, first couple of rounds, and 2 podiums in a row. Again, I think a 6th and a 5th in the last couple. But certainly a contender, and obviously if you look at the point standings, sitting there in that number 2 spot as we head into this one. So a lot of huge building blocks for Hunter Hart, and a guy to keep an eye on. That's even from the mouth of Walker Fowler has mentioned that when speaking about Hunter Hart. He said, he's starting to turn it on here this year. I really worry about that guy moving into 2022. So Hunter Hart doing everything he can to throw his name into the championship conversation. So maybe we head into the offseason, we start talking about, hey, Bryce Neill, hey, Hunter Hart, hey, Walker Fowler, and we'll get things real crazy here. So again, want to welcome you guys to RacerTV.com. And this is the 5th round of the season, the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Tiger Run GNCC. And for those, while we're kind of waiting on our riders to come through, to kind of inform you, Mr. Tim Cotter actually made the announcement earlier today when we were before the youth race, and before the AM race, speaking in regards to snowshoe. And I know everybody at home probably just their hearts is skipping a beat right now, saying, oh no, what's Mikey going to say about snowshoe? Snowshoe's still on. We're still on schedule.
Oh man, the keyboard warriors just go,
yeah, they go, I had my post ready. We're still going. Everything is
But wait a minute, Warriors.
However,
wait a minute, Warriors. We got fuel. We got fuel for your fodder.
We won't have any live concerts.
No,
but
there won't be any live concerts in the village.
In the village. Yes.
However, there will be entertainment areas set up outside the village and things like that in a social distancing kind of way. And we want to adhere to that. Also, one important thing to remember is when you're at the village, if you go inside the village, you must wear a mask while inside the village confines. So those are just a few little things that you got to think about. But when you look at the big picture, again, we're still very fortunate. We're very blessed to be able to continue to race. In some areas, unlike South Carolina, may not be as open, like Texas and Florida and South Carolina and Georgia and places like that. As we are out near the 8-mile marker, Mikey, I think our leader should be checking in with us here pretty soon at the Monster Mile. Lo and behold, there he is, Walker Fowler, the #1 machine, going for 4 in a row here in the 2021 season. And I'll tell you, after that first loss here at the Big Buck property during the Big Buck GNCC, you could see a little bit of deflatedness in Walker Fowler, but at the same time, the deflatedness only gave him inspiration to go home and train. And you see what kind of madness that is created. He is virtually just a terror on four wheels. There's no doubt about it. Granted, Bryce Neill has ran with him a couple times, but there's a point where Bryson actually has to push so hard he breaks machines and blows them up and things of that nature. So it goes to show you just how well Walker has things dialed in here is, wow, as we approach the midway point of the 2021 season.
Yeah, Walker's, he's certainly got it dialed right now. There's Chris Borich on screen right there. So I believe that would put Borich back in about the, number 4 position. Unless I missed somebody or didn't miss somebody, it might be in the number 3 position. Great start for him. I was talking to Rodney earlier, kind of about all-time wins. Is Walker Fowler starting to creep up on Bill Balance. I mean, that's going to be he'll be moving into that number 2 spot possibly this year, but sitting at the top still all-time wins is Chris Borich. And after the mechanical issue, McGill on screen right there. After the mechanical issue he had last round, I got to think he's hungry. He's not had a taste of that podium yet this season, let alone a win. And I got to think that's going to come to an end here soon for Chris Borich. I think we're going to see him put in a top 3 effort today.
Well, with the start that he had today, there's no doubt that he was putting in that effort right off the beginning. And I have to think, especially with the turmoil that he faced at the last round, he's got to be a little fired up himself. Chris, I did an interview with him on Friday, a preview interview for Quad Radio, and he said, I'm not out there racing for 5th or 6th. That's not what I'm racing for. I'm really trying to get podiums. I'm really trying to get wins. But like you said, the competition is so stiff these days, and the face of the racing has changed over the course of the last decade or so.
Yeah, that's right, and continues to change. I think we just saw Austin Abney on screen moving through there. Abney, another guy, spoke with him at the end of Camp Coker, and he was frustrated. He's like, I know it's my rookie season. I'm going home, and Mikey, I'm gonna have quads for sale. Of course, he was joking, but he was frustrated because he's like, it did so well in XC2, and I think it's kind of that almost coming to Jesus moment of, okay, let's take a step back. Let's figure out how I've done so far. What changes can I make to start taking it to that next level? So,
interesting you say that. Because I have no internet service here personally, I haven't been able to upload. But I have an interview with Austin Abney that I did that I'm going to be posting on Monday.
Nice.
Talk specifically about that and the step up from the XC2 to the XC1 class and what the obstacles really are out there.
Yeah, it's something that Austin will tell you firsthand, like you're going to have on the show. It's a big step up. I know a lot of folks, we see what a rider does in the XC2, and Hunter Hart was that way too when he was in the XC2. I mean, he would be flirting with these top 3 overalls on time adjustment. Then he jumps into the XC1, and maybe if you're that hardcore Hunter Hart fan, you're like, well, he's going to be a contender from day one. Not necessarily the case, which just speaks to the talent of GNCC.
John Glotta, another one.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all finding those growing pains. And again, when they come into this, Glotta's even gotten the top 5 or 6 or 2 throughout the course of his career in the XC1 Pro class. But even he knows that it is a difficult situation making that step up. And I don't think they realize what it is until they get there. And it's just intense. And, I'll give you a hint. Austin says, if you find yourself getting stuck behind an 8th place guy, if you get tuned in to 8th place overall, that's a pretty good thing from XC2. And, but in XC1, you get back there and then you just get kind of hung in with that pace, so you don't really get to push yourself. He says, what I got to do is remember, don't hang with those guys. Just keep pushing and pushing through like I always have.
Makes sense. Got our Yamaha live drone and a look at Walker Fowler out in front. It looks a little different than when we were here for Big Buck, some trees, but did spot that white chest protector and white helmet and the flamingo, the pink. If you see those pink dots, that's his flamingo on the helmet.
Well, we should be seeing Walker poke out of the wood section here so far. I haven't gotten a clock on this yet, Mikey, but there he is, actually poking into the wood section, I guess we should say, as he makes his way in. Look, we can see little hints here and there as Daniel Rogerson, one of our RacerTV drone pilots, is back with us here this weekend. And there is Walker Fowler. I can hear him going through the woods right now solely by himself. There's not a soul near him at this moment. And wow, that's kind of intriguing, impressive, and alarming all at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's good news for Walker Fowler and Walker Fowler fans. If you're everybody else, you're thinking, man, here we go again. But yeah, he's stretching it out right now, and that's good for him. because it's dusty. I mean, right, this is not the kind of race where you want to be jockeying for position for the front. I mean, you're going to be eating dust all day. So Walker is trying to put as much distance on him. And two, he's got to be thinking, you know, it's been such a huge conversation about lap traffic this year for all of our races, especially the pro race. But if you're Walker, you're thinking, okay, I know I'm going to get in lap traffic. I know I'm going to be eating some of that dust too from some of that. So let me push out in front as much as I can. Of that.
Well, one thing to point out, we're 170 or so riders at this race, and traditionally, for some reason, round 5 in GNCC never, doesn't matter where we go, doesn't seem to attract a large crowd. I don't know what it is time of the season, but what that signals for Walker Fowler and the crew out there is lap traffic. They won't be getting into it nearly as quickly, and it won't be nearly as thick as what it has been through the first 4 rounds of racing. As we roll through the 10-mile marker here at the FMF PowerPoint, Walker Fowler looking over his shoulder, but for what, I don't know. Oh, maybe there it is, the battle for second place, finally making their way through. I'm going to say this is probably close to a good 30 seconds behind, and it's Bryce Neill in the number 2 spot, in the number 3 spot, the number 3, Cole Richardson, trying to get through some spectators down there and having to go the long way around there. And was that, yeah, I was going to say
Borch was right there.
And Borch was able to capitalize on that. That's going to put him right on the rear grab bar of that number 3 of Cole Richardson. So we'll see what happens. We'll Borch him here as we roll through lap number. We're still on lap number 1, amazingly, as we approach the near 29-minute mark in this race, Mikey Wings.
It's been a wild one. You know, Rodney, speaking to the lap traffic, Ronnie Rush actually brought up a good point. We interviewed him for a Tuesday Toolbox, and he's like, I'm good with that. McGill on screen, there's that battle we were just looking at. He said, I'm good with the lap traffic. Oh, how about that?
Glotta, I think, may have just made, yep.
Glotta got him.
Yeah, used a good line there, a little too far outside, I think, there for the gator. And he might have did that on purpose. He might have been getting tired of letting that young kid push on him. He's going to let him go out. Now he's going to latch on to him and see where they can go from there. Because, hey, Adams this season, does anyone out there, he knows if somebody's a little bit faster, maybe he can pick up on a few lines here and there.
But anyways, Ronnie was talking about how that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing for the sport because that means more people are out riding their sport quads at the GNCC. So he said, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with the lap traffic. We just have to learn as pros and pro-ams how to deal with it.
Right, exactly. And I think they are, and they will as time goes on. There is the 703 of Austin Abney. It looks like he's holding on to a top 10 position right now. So that's good news for the former XC2 Pro Am champ, I guess I should say.
This FMF PowerPoint it's been fun so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out today. So many line choices for these guys, which we've already seen in lap 1, and it's one of those it's on the track where you got to think guys are thinking, all right, I know I'm hanging on to that line. I'm waiting until that last lap, and that's when I know I can get a pass in.
Yeah. Well, Mikey, I don't know if you noticed the terrain as Johnny Gallagher makes his way through on the number 13, the 27-year vet. Racing an XC1 Pro class. He's been starting on the front row for 27 seasons now. But we talk about the conditions being so much drier, and even in the woods, and Ryan and Jared have been talking about it during riders meetings and things like that, you know, that there's going to be some dust in the woods. It wouldn't be bad. But note, it is moisture. The moisture in the dirt right now is kind of holding a little bit there, and you know, if they dig down a little farther, they might find a little more moisture, and we may not see dust. But it's funny, little patches here and there where the sun hits a little more often, it is a little dustier. And I think Griff Cotter, our director, making point that Johnny Gallagher's 27 seasons is 6 years longer than Tom Brady's been a professional quarterback.
And I got to say, I'm going to upset some people, but I am a much bigger Johnny Gallagher fan than Tom Brady.
Who's Tom Brady, by the way?
Well, he's some clown quarterback that played for New England, and then he just picked a team and won a Super Bowl.
Right. You know, there's Walker Fowler, and I haven't watched football since the strike. During the strike, I watched football, and then after they started playing, I haven't enjoyed professional football since then. They played with heart whenever those guys were playing. And that's what I like about GNCC. Yeah. These guys ride with heart, and that's what we're seeing right now. We are in the pits right now, and we've got Devin Feehan having problems already. Man, you talk about insult to injury. This kid has seen this time and time again here in this 2021 season. He had some not so good luck in the 2020 season as well. So once this kid gets these little things worked out, I know that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. So it's a matter of just biding his time, I think, here in this pro class. And sometimes it takes riders a little longer than others to mature. Oftentimes, some may eventually just give up before they actually get through the hard parts of their careers. But I'm sure that Devin's one of those guys. He's going to fight through it. Speaking of fighting through it, down on the bottom right-hand side, you see fighting through the trees there. Walker Fowler still by himself and at least 30-second lead over the rest of the field. We should be getting close to this finish line. Actually, we are through the finish line, I guess. Walker Fowler leading Bryce Neill. That gap says 18 seconds, but I'm telling you, folks, it seems like a lot longer than that whenever you're watching this on the in the wood sections. We see the number 3 of Cole Richardson in third. Chris Borch, the number 5, has dropped 10 seconds back behind Cole Richardson. Now John Glotta is now 30 seconds behind Chris Borch. So Borch able to get around Glotta Jr. and maintain and solidify fourth place, at least for the time being. The 521, Adam McGill, dropping now almost 10 seconds back off of Glotta. So not real sure what happened there when McGill went to the wide right line and Glotta got by. Don't know if it was just a bad line choice by McGill or whether he was letting the youngster go through. Hunter Hart also checking in back in the number 7 spot on the number 7. And again, he's second in points. Had a couple of great first few rounds of racing. Finishing on the podium. Has had some struggles since then, running in that 6th, 7th place position and battling for those. Currently running in 7th, 32:44 lap time. It's about a minute and 15 seconds off the pace of your leader, Walker Fowler, right now. So Hunter needs to find a little time out there on the course if he hopes to be knocking on the door of a podium before this race is all said and done. The 701 of Greg Covert back in the number 8 position. Then it's Austin Abney checking in another 14 seconds back in the number 9 spot. And again, Abney talking about wanting to just get those solid top 10s this year and hopes for 6s and 7s as he gets farther into the program. And eventually he says, I want to be landing in top 5 consistently. But as we said, the talent pool is deep here. Consistently landing in the top 5 is tough. Ask riders like Chris Borch and Hunter Hart and Adam McGill, riders that we at one point would have said are given for a top 5 position. At this point, nothing is given. Everything is certainly earned. Brandon Owens in the number 10 spot as he leads the XC2 Pro Am class. Johnny Gallagher would be 11th in the overall, 10th in class. As we check in with, looks like some front end problems with Devin Feehan. Looked like they were working on that tie rod or maybe a ball joint in there just a few moments ago. I know we seen Matt Pierce from Pierce Performance working diligently on that to try to make things happen for him and get him back on the race course. Mikey Waynes headed over to the pits there just a couple of moments ago to see if he could get a word in with Devin and find out what's going on as far as this little hiccup is concerned in the program there on his first lap of racing. Right now, continuing as the XC2 are rolling through. We're watching Walker Fowler again up front, but we'll check in with XC2 riders. Brandon Owens out of Walker, West Virginia, the Pirate MX rider in the number 1 spot. He gets around Kenny Schick. Schick got the early lead on the whole shot on that 259 from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. He had about an 8.2 second lead at the end of lap number 1. The rider who seems to be somewhat controlled, a few wins so far in the 2021 season for the 714 of Ronnie Rush out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 4th place, Wyatt Wilkin out of Hillsboro, Ohio, 621. 5th place, Ben Kowalewski out of Halstead, Pennsylvania, 447. Dylan Walraven out of Dallas, Georgia, in 6th. 7th is Trey Seifert. Walker Fowler out near the 2-mile marker now. Nick Davidson checking in 8th place out of Steubenville, Ohio, in the Pro-Am class. And let's see if that's still about an 18-second gap. Waiting right now. So yeah, we're still looking at 20-30 second range. Things are tightening up there for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place positions, as it looks like Richardson, Borich, and maybe, well, Glotta should be a little further back in that. So Richardson and Borich are right there behind Bryce Neill at 3-way shootout at the 2-mile marker now. There is Chris Borich going through, so maybe that wasn't Chris Borich. Somebody must have taken over Chris Borich's.
McClure.
McClure. That would make sense, but McClure was back in 8th So he's really made up some good ground there.
It looked like him.
Well, doesn't surprise me. Remember, we do call him the sneaky snake. He can make up some pretty good ground and some pretty good passes there. All right, Mikey Waynes is with us down in the pits. What's going on down there, Mikey?
Hey, thanks, Rodney. Down here with Devin Feehan. Devin, man, tough break for you. What happened out there?
Yeah, just came in the first turn, and second turn I didn't have any front brakes, so I knew that was going to make for a little bit of fun, but tried to run it as long as I could, and ended up losing the rears as well. So once that happened, just pulled it in, tried to fix it, but I don't think there's anything you can do at this point. So
on to the next one.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Devin. We'll take it back to you, Rodney.
All right, it looked like they were actually working on that front wheel. I thought they were looking at the ball joints or something there on the A-arms, but it appears brake problems are the issue for the 408 machine. So tough break there for Devin Feehan, and a heartbreaker here, as I know he was really hoping to be able to score some good points in the championship bid today, but he'll live to fight another day, and we'll see him back at the Hoosier GNCC in just a couple of weeks. Again, your running order: Walker Fowler, Bryce Neill, Cole Richardson, Chris Borich in 4th, John Galata Jr. in 5th, Adam McGill 6th, Hunter Hart 7th, Terry McClure in 8th, 9th is Greg Covert, 10th is Josh Merritt. Austin Abney has dropped to the 11th place position, was running up, I believe, inside the top 10 in 9th place there a few miles ago. Johnny Gallagher in 12th, and Wesley Wolf, who celebrates his birthday today, is rounding out the 13th place position there in the XC1 Pro class. Again, remember, we are minus Devin Feehan from that first lap result due to the braking issues, the lack thereof. Mikey Wayne's back with us down in the pits.
Sorry about that. Nick V actually doing some testing on the equipment here, so we'll send it right back to you.
All righty, we'll boomerang this one right back. Again, Brandon Owens, 8.2 seconds, a 33:40 lap time. Now let's see where that puts Brandon Owens. I think we said we had him in somewhere in the neighborhood of around a 10th place overall position. And as we look, actually, it's a little further back than that. It's 13th place overall. So, and look at that. Junior A 22 plus class leader Jay Shadron is 12th place overall. He's beating the entire XC2 Pro Am class now. So Shadron in 12th place overall. And that puts him in the lead as far as the top amateur is concerned. Your second place amateur would be Lane McCormick, your college A 16 to 21-year-old class leader. He's currently sitting in the 20th place overall. Now, normally we don't start talking about top amateurs this early in the program because generally it takes them a lap or two to find themselves in the overall top 20. But this week, yeah, it looks like Shadron came on a mission. There's no doubt about it. As that former XC1 Pro rider from about 5 years ago. Now, I'm not going to say this is like recently pro by no stretch of the imagination. May have been 6 years ago. But Jay Shadron been out of it for a while and coming back and hit and miss to junior 25 plus classes over the last year or two. And wow, he comes in with a force and a mission today, it looks like, as he is running currently 12th place overall, a 33:34 lap time, 1 minute 1 second slower than John Galata, who is 5th place position in the overall right now. So gives you an idea where his lap times are as far as top XC1 Pro riders are concerned, but also let you know he's flying out there right now and top dog in all of our top amateur stuff. Yeah, Chris Borich out here at the 4-mile marker, still running in that I believe that's the number 4 spot that we have CB in now. Chris Borich on the Chris Borich racing machine, and familiar look to the Borich program. As you remember, a Suzuki pilot for many years, made the switch last year to Honda's, back to Suzuki's this year. As
Hunter Hart made a lot of time on John Galata.
Well, we've seen those kind of things happen, if you will, and not a bit surprised, to be honest with you, as Hunter Hart, a rider that as we said, finished on the podium in the early part of the season, and for some reason or another, was really kind of not really ridden to the expectations, though he's had decent rides, finishing 6th and 7th and things of that nature, but not to the expectations that I'm sure he had for himself, especially after those early podiums that he got here in the GNCC season. So taking a look, if you're wondering about timing and scoring, if you watch to the left side of your screen there, you can see several different classes scrolling through. You can also watch online as the riders make their way through. Just go to the GNCCRacing.com website and go to the scoring tab and click on that. It'll have live timing and scoring for you and get you right to where you want to be. Now, mentioning there just a moment ago, Hunter Hart, he was about 2 seconds off the pace of Adam McGill there a lap ago. It looks like he may have gotten around Adam McGill and is chasing down John Glottis. So we might have some excitement taking place here in this XC1 Pro class as far as changes in positions are concerned. And of course, we're wondering where is McClure, the sneaky snake? Where is the Cobra? Is he ready to strike? I know talking with him coming in this weekend, he was pretty stoked up on this one, really wanting to make some things happen, as still trying to get things settled in as far as this first half of the race is concerned. We are 43.5 minutes now into this race, working on 44 minutes. And of course, yeah, flying by. Time is flying by. Speaking of flying by, there goes Johnny Gallagher, making his way by as well. I'll tell you what, folks, I think we will take a quick break, and we'll reassess some things and get some updates and find out, is anyone going to be able to track down Walker Fowler? Bryce Neill's in second. He's been in this position before, but can he make the old magic happen again? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall, I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground-up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lieb, the director of On Track School. How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
Hello, my name is John Coffey. I'm an AMSOIL dealer from Southern Virginia. Today's AMSOIL Spotlight is going to be on our oil change kits for the most popular Can-Am ATVs and UTVs. And you can see that there's 3 different kits, and they vary only slightly by the amount of oil that's in each one of the kits. I've taken the liberty to open one of the kits up so you can see exactly what you're going to get when you're ready to use one. Inside the kits, of course, you're going to have the motor oil, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. There's a high quality filter in there that's going to help remove any kind of contaminants that may migrate their way into the oil system. And then you're going to have a little packet right here that has a new O-ring for the oil filter and a couple of washers for the drain plug on the oil pan. Now you're going to get all of this in a complete, cost-effective, convenient kit with no waste. It's just the exact amount of oil for each one of the machines. With AMSOIL's severe service formulations, it allows riders to confidently push their machines to the limit, whatever those limits may be. And if you'd like to learn more about AMSOIL's protection, please take a few minutes and check out the UTV Extreme Dyno Test online at amsoil.com. And again, these are the kits for the Can-Ams. On the other side, we have kits also for Polaris. Now, before I end here today, I would just like to say one thing. With next Thursday being Earth Day, there's really no better way to practice extraordinary environmental stewardship than by using AMSOIL products. With increased fuel economy, lower emissions, you reduce your carbon footprint, and with our oils typically lasting 2 to 3 times longer than conventional oils, there's so much less waste oil that has to be disposed of going forward. So I want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin here with you at the Big Buck Farm for this, the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. And, of course, Mikey Wayne's out and about. He'll be back with us in just a few moments as we were watching things unfold here. And the big unfold is that Walker Fowler has virtually been untouchable thus far, enjoying a 15-plus second lead. At last check, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 18. I'm saying maybe a little more than that when we last saw them come through there just a few moments ago. Neill back in the number 2 spot. Cole Richardson, the coal chain right on his rear wheel, basically within just a few seconds. Chris Borich running another 10 seconds or so back as we pick up the action. And there is the number 1, and that is, of course, Walker Fowler as he disappears out of sight there. We'll try to get a idea of just exactly what this gap is starting to shape up like now, as second place will be making his way in a few moments, making their way through that windy and tricky Monster Mile section of this race. Yeah, that right there has tightened up quite a bit, and I thought I saw those guys coming in a lot tighter than they did. So looks like Bryce Neill may be a man on a mission himself this time around. As we look at lap times, it was a 31:29 at the end of lap 1 for Fowler. It took 31 minutes and 48 seconds for Bryce Neill to complete lap number 1, but I have to think that maybe lap number 2 is going to be a little faster for Bryce Neill than for Walker Fowler. And with 9 seconds, that gap cut in half. Still about 3-4 miles to go before we reach the finish line region. You have to wonder how much more of that will Bryce Neill be able to eclipse. And now that he can see Walker Fowler, will this inspire him even more? And again, we go back to that double-edged sword that Bryce Neill has basically been riding for the 2021 season. Do you push too hard to catch up to Walker Fowler and break the machine, or do you bide your time and wait for it to come to you. Well, we'll just wait and see what choices he happens to make as that gap has opened up quite a bit back to the number 4 spot of Chris Borch. I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 seconds. That tells you what kind of pace right now. And there is the number 7 of Hunter Hart up from 7th now into 5th, and he's right on the rear wheel of Chris Borch. So you're right, Ryan Amancio made the call there a few moments ago, a few miles back, said that Hunter Hart appeared to be on the move, and Hunter Hart is on the move, as we said, moving up 2 spots, and now right on the rear wheel of Chris Borch for that 4th place position. So he's going to look for a top 4, and once he gets there, that bridge to gap to that number 3 position in a podium ride is a little bit wider, I'm sure, than what he hoped for and what he may expect, but nonetheless, he's got himself putting himself in a pretty good position as we inch our way toward the end of lap number 2 here at this Tiger Run GNCC.
You know, you shouldn't count out Cole Richardson, which is right on Bryce Neill as well. So we may look forward to Cole Richardson maybe making a move if they do catch up. So it's going to be a 3-way battle.
Cole Richardson is certainly due one. There's no doubt about it. And bringing up that point, Cole Richardson has been touted by Walker Fowler as being a very highly competitive rider, and one that is one that he worries about aside from Bryce Neill. So with that being said, I mean, it's obvious that that Cole Richardson's got the speed, he's got the talent. It's just that he's got to have the luck, so to speak, for things to come out in his favor and pan out in his favor and to make things work for him in that respect. And of course, this time around we are some 9.5 minutes out from the I would assume a 2-lap board. We are only about 7 minutes out from the 1 hour mark, so this race could go a little bit long today. One good thing about that, as Mikey Waynes rejoins us here in the booth, is Mikey, it is springtime, and it has been very warm down here in South Carolina and dry, as we can see, but we woke this morning to a little cooler temperatures and overcast skies. Even had a sprinkle or two, literally a sprinkle or two. There wasn't many more than that, but it was cloudy, and it did look like it could possibly rain, but we never did really see it. Just a sprinkle. You felt it maybe on your skin, seen it on your windshield or something, but nothing ever really developed out of it.
It definitely started as soon as I got on the podium this morning for the micros. Is it Murphy's Law or something? I don't know. But, yeah, you're right. It didn't last long. I mean, you see the dust kicking up right there. But, yeah, it's been an interesting one, to say the least. It's not overly hot, though. I mean, if you're looking and you're thinking, oh, my goodness, it's probably in the 90s. Nope. It's not bad at all, really.
We're low 70s right now.
Yeah, I shed the flannel pretty much right before the pro race here.
Yeah, so. I was thinking about shorts for the afternoon, but didn't make that call. But there's Bryce Neill, number 2 ride, as he heads into the pits. I imagine we're going to see pit stops here. Still behind him, I believe that is the Teely Energy Racing ride of Cole Richardson going in for a pit stop. There's Bryce Neill. Quick gas stop for him. Look at that. The boys from Phoenix are over patting him on the back. That's Big Wayne right there, his son Lil Wayne. Yeah, he's the father of Lil Wayne.
Oh, wait.
Whoa.
So
what just happened there?
So change up. Walker Fowler.
Did you
now
see
in
that?
3rd.
I thought we just missed Walker Fowler, but that's not the case. I don't think that's what happened. I think what happened is Walker Fowler must have had some sort of issue out there, because now, Mikey, get on your horse and ride, son. You got to go down and find out what happened.
Machine looked clean, so we'll go get a word with Mark Notman, see if we can't find out what's going on.
Man, I hate to lose you so quickly, dude, but man, I got to know what did transpire there, because I thought maybe we'd just miss Walker, and he had that much of a lead, or seeming to at some point. Well, something happened in the Monster Mile. A couple of guys getting together. I almost have to wonder if maybe some lap traffic might have caused this issue. Got crossed up, which tied up Walker Fowler. And a quick crash. The tether came off. So, Mikey, you can make your way back. We got the word on that. A quick crash in the Monster Mile. His tether came off. It took him a while to get it back on. But it gave those guys a chance to get around. There's Chris Borch checking in now in the number 4 position. And, again, quite a ways down. Was that
Hunter Hart?
Yeah, I believe Hunter Hart making the pass there. I don't know if Hunter actually pitted and got out a little quicker than what Chris Borch did or not. Wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because I know that Hunter he works on all
aspects of his program. So now Hart up from 7th to a 4th place position here in one lap of racing. So Hunter Hart is on the move right now. Will he be able to eclipse that big 30 or so second gap that we're seeing develop now between the 3rd and 4th place positions of Cole Richardson and Chris Borich? But Hunter's got to get up and around Chris Borich at this point, but certainly is closing that gap ever so quickly. That is becoming, or actually he's closed the gap. He's up to 4th now. Chris Borich has dropped to 5th. I thought that's how exciting things are, man. My mind's going that quick. Things. So many things going on. All right, we still down here in the pro pits. I imagine we'll see some XC2 guys coming in. Some of the back of the pack. There's Jared McClure in now. McClure on the number 4 is checked in an 8th place position, I believe.
8th place overall.
Yep.
Yeah, 8th place. Okay.
So he is running 8th, I believe, still in class, and 8th overall. We'll get the details on that. And that's McGill, I believe.
It is.
McGill has dropped way back in this. When McGill was running 6th, and actually running 5th in the early part of lap number 1. At the end of that lap, he dropped back to the number 6 spot, and it looks like he's lost a few more positions. So I have to think that there's some sort of an issue for Adam McGill. And there is McGill's fur baby right there. One thing we do want to note, Mark McGill, the mustache that we always talk about, not here this weekend, feeling a little under the weather. From what I understand, I was told his first race he hasn't been to in 17 years that Adam raced. So his first race missed. There is the 703 of Austin Abney. He's on his way out of the pit stop now. So the young Hoosier is making waves out there, still running and pushing for a top 10 position in this one as he sets in 11th place position right behind Merritt, the number 8 machine from Akron, Ohio. And, of course, a lot of Ohio riders, or several Ohio riders. Walker Fowler, Bryce Neill, all from Ohio. Josh Merritt from Ohio. You see Wyatt Wilkin back there in the XC2, and Johnny Gallagher, all from the from Ohio area. So a lot of ATV four-wheel guys from the Ohio region. And I'm proud to say I'm from Ohio, and proud to say that we got Ohio battling it out in 1st and 2nd right now. We got Mikey Wayne, who's a Hoosier.
Totally.
Totally. I like that response. He's getting the lowdown on what exactly happened with Walker Fowler down there just a few moments ago. We got the just a quick shot of it, a quick crash. Tether cord came off, and the guys got by. But hopefully we get a few more details from Mikey Waynes coming up here in just a few moments as we check our Yamaha live drone. And we should be looking for Bryce Neill to be making his way out with Cole Richardson right there hot on his rear wheel in the number 2 position, and Walker Fowler not too far behind that. There is Bryce Neill. Look at that. He's already starting to open that gap up between himself and the number 3 machine. So something really inspiring there for Bryce Neill. I guess it's the lead that has inspired him, because even the number 3 of Cole Richardson isn't even making this push right now. So maybe he is hoping that Bryson maybe pushes too hard yet again and puts himself in a good position at the end of this race to take the checkers in the win. We'll see what happens here as we continue to roll and what that gap is shaping up like between the 1st and 2nd place positions. But, you know, and there it is. There's 2nd place starting to come in. So not as big a gap as what we were thinking. Is that Richardson or is that Walker Fowler now up to the number 2 spot? I guess that's the question that we need to answer ourselves right now.
You know, I don't think Bryce Neill would probably do what he did a few races ago. Oh, look, Cole Richardson's right there, though. So they're both they're together. But I don't think Bryce Neill would push his hardest like he did one of last races or whatever.
Well, as we are now over the 1 hour mark in this race right here, trying to get our timing and scoring databases hooked back up here so we can get you the intel and information here. But wow, what a great day we've had so far. Mikey, as we said, down in the pro pits. We'll see if he's gotten any word, anything differently than what we got coming in from our good friends there from the radio traffic. There is Hunter Hart checking in that on that number 7 machine. Now again, remember, he was running in that number 7 spot. He'd worked his way up to what we
we had counted up to 4th place after making the pass on Chris Borich, and that's exactly what timing and scoring tells us, as Neill, Richardson, Fowler, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich all in for the top 5. In 6th place, the 712 of John Glotta, and I believe that Mikey Waynes is finally ready.
Hey, thanks, Rodney. Down here in the Walker Fowler pits, Mark Notman right now out and about. Got the word from Dad, though. He said, in his words, Walker Fowler had to stop and get some ice cream. He really did say that. That's not the case. He said Walker hit a tree, messed some things up, but he's out there ripping and rolling. We'll see if the bike holds up. Doesn't look too serious. They got the wrenches out just like they normally do. But right now, Walker's just trying to catch up with those leaders.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So I don't want to say the wheels coming off for Walker Fowler, but, man, that's, to make those kind of mistakes. And, in seasons past and maybe races past, Walker's been able to afford mistakes like that and still be able to overcome the adversities. But with the field of competition that is now lurking in the background, it's so much more difficult to have those kind of mistakes made. And once you make one, it seems like they compound. And this one really compounded for Walker Fowler as he hit the tree and did some damage to the machine from what they are thinking there in the Fowler pits. Now, obviously, it's not enough to slow him down, or at least not enough to take him out of the race just yet. I don't know if they have any intentions to make any changes or any works, anything in the works as far as trying to fix anything bent or anything like that. So looks like it's just status quo. He's going to have to adjust to whatever issue he's having out there. But again, I think the big news right now is that big move by Hunter Hart, the impressive ride here on this second lap of racing, as he was able to make some major gains out here. As we look back, John Glotta Jr. in 6th, Jared McClure now 7th, Josh Merritt running in a consistent 8th place position. Adam McGill has dropped back to the number 9 spot. Rounding out the top 10, Greg Covert aboard the number 701. Again, not real sure what's going on with McGill. Maybe we can get a word in there from Mikey Waynes down there. Austin Abney, 11th place, and there is Jay Shadron. Again, we'll wait and see if he's still in a top 12 overall position. Sounds like Mikey Waynes is ready for another update.
Hey, yeah, Rodney, give you an update on McGill. Seems mechanically okay, however, not feeling well was a report I got. So don't know if maybe he's got a little bit of what Dad has, maybe, but McGill not feeling too well. But pit crew said they're going to try and keep it going, but if he starts to feel worse, they're going to pull him out.
Yeah, and talking with him yesterday, that was one thing that he was telling me. He said, I am starting to feel a little down under the weather myself. He wasn't sure if it was allergies or what the case may be. Your leader there, as we see at the 2-mile marker, the number 2, and there is the number 3 back in the number 2 spot. That is Cole Richardson behind Bryce Neill now through the specialized E-Turbo portion of the race course. Reminding you folks, coming up this evening about 4:30, we will be having round 2 of EMTB GNCC presented by our good friends there at Specialized, and going to be a good time for that. We've also got EPV racing coming up tonight. We've got Dunlop Supercross watch party going to be taking place, and chapel services, so a full evening tonight. There's the number 3 ride, the number 1 of Walker Fowler checking in. That gap has opened up quite a bit. The big question here is going to be, how tight is this going to be? This might be a pretty interesting scenario opening up. If Walker Fowler is experiencing some issues, will he have what it's going to take to maintain the pace to stay out ahead of the young number 7 of Hunter Hart? Hart was some 3.7 seconds back. Excuse me, was 57 seconds back of Walker Fowler, and Chris Borich was only just under 4 seconds behind Hunter Hart. I think that Hart is stretching that out a little bit now, and
right there.
Yeah, so 50 seconds is a lot. I don't think he's bridged much of that gap, if any of that gap so far. So Walker may be in pretty good position right now. As far as that goes, there goes the number 5 of Chris Borich now, as he runs in that number 5 position here on this Saturday in South Carolina. 6th place should be the 712 of John Glotta. Was running about 11 seconds back, and about the same within that 15-second range between 6th and 7th place position, as Glotta makes his way through what looks like some really powdery type soil now, as some of these drier areas are starting to do that out here in these wood sections. Pretty hard packed and dry, and creating a completely different race surface than what we saw when we were here back in February for the opening round of the GNCC season. And I'm sure folks that were saying, well, I've already been a Big Buck this year, I don't need to race there again, and they're watching this on TV today. It's totally different. It's not the same racetrack. No, it's not the same racetrack. We tell you that. Just because we go to the same facility don't mean you're going to be racing the same racetrack, and conditions are different, so it obviously is different all the way around. And yeah, you might have missed out. I apologize if you did. If you're at home and you got time to get here for tomorrow, get loaded up, get on down here.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna have a good time here, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
And it's not too hot like last time here at Big Buck. It's like a good.
It is very comfortable, Ryan Amancio. Very, very comfortable. There's no doubt about that. 2 mile marker, and we'll be seeing our leaders, I think. There goes McClure, I believe, on the number 4 machine. We should be seeing our leaders out near that 4 mile marker here pretty soon. And lo and behold, there we go, right on cue. So waiting here in the Yamaha section for one of our Yamaha mounted riders. Bryce Neill, Cole Richardson, Walker Fowler, and even Hunter Hart, the top 4 all on the Yamaha. And don't forget, Yamaha GNCC University coming to Snowshoe Mountain the week prior to the Snowshoe GNCC. And yes, it is on. There will, as we pointed out, be a few social distancing protocols, like masks must be worn in the village. You will not be allowed in the village, plain and simple, without them. We'll also be moving the podium from out of the village area. No concerts in the village. Not saying that we won't have entertainment and shows around the village, but it'll be broken up into mini parties, so to speak, or mini gatherings, so to speak, and ones that folks will be able, I think, to socially distance a little bit more. There's Bryce Neill out here at the 4 mile marker, and whoa, it is getting dusty.
Wow.
Dustier and drier as this day wears on. There is still the number 3 machine of Cole Richardson in that number 2 spot. 2, 3, and we should be seeing 1 check in here pretty soon. That gap, according to timing and scoring, was somewhere in the neighborhood of just under 24 seconds. So I'm going to figure we're still right there in that 25-second range, but it could be getting wider. Remember, Walker not only had the incident, but may have some malfunctioning equipment on the bike because of that incident. When you watch him coming through here, it doesn't look like he slowed his pace down a whole lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's not the case. So we'll get the full story on this one, I'm sure, as the race wears on and at the conclusion of it, if nothing else. And if Walker keeps riding like this, he'll be able to talk about it in a podium position finish. Right now, right.
I got 40 seconds.
Well, that's almost double what it was at the finish line some 4 miles ago. Wow. So I'm going out on a limb and saying it is something going on with Walker Fowler. This is the gap that I think we should be more concerned about right now.
That's close.
Back to the number 7 machine of Hunter Hart. Hunter Hart is closing that gap up now on Walker Fowler, I believe, just a little bit, down from 50 seconds. I think we're more closer in the 30-odd seconds range, so we've gained 10-15 seconds or so here in this lap of racing already between the 4th place position and 3rd place position. Note, where's the number 5? Hunter Hart has really checked out a little bit on him, I think.
Okay, so I got 28 seconds on Hunter Hart to Walker Fowler, and Hunter Hart to Chris Borge on the screen right now is another 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Wow. So Hunter Hart is finding his flow. There's no doubt about that. Bryce Neill leading Cole Richardson, Walker Fowler in 3rd. Then it's Hunter Hart and Chris Borge as the battle continues here at this, Tiger Run GNCC. It's a Big Buck Farm, but it's the Tiger Run GNCC. We're glad to have you. Stick around. Will Walker Fowler be able to rebound and make it 4 wins in a row? GNCC Live continues after this.
This week in Yamaha history takes us to April 2005. It was the year when Juha Salminen made his debut in GNCC racing and had become quite the adversary. It was also a day of times with riders like Shane Watts, Robbie Jinks, Fred Andrews, Steve Hatch, Nate Caney, Jimmy Jarrett, Scott Summers, Barry Hawk, and many, many more. It was a dry, typical Big Buck GNCC race day as it was round number 4 of the season. And on this day, on lap number 1, the riders all scrambled to try and take the lead as it had become a mad dash since the arrival of Salminen. Mike Lafferty was leading at the end of lap number 1 as this slugfest was only beginning. Up to this point in the season, Juha Salminen had seemed to take control of the situation. But on this day, Barry Hawk dialed his number. It was a tight race through the early portion of this race as Barry Hawk was not going to relinquish total control to Juha on that day. Finally, at one point on lap number 4, Juha Salminen made a mistake and went down. Barry Hawk was there to quickly capitalize, and finally Barry had chinked Juha's armor. After taking the lead, the Hawk had spread his wings and was soaring to his first of 3 wins in 2005. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
You've never experienced excitement like this. Motorcycles on dirt, battling at over 100 miles an hour. Amazing family fun, including live music, bike displays, vendors, and more. Kids 12 and under get in free. The Yamaha Racing Atlanta Super TT American Flat Track Motorcycle Race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Saturday, May 1st. Get your tickets at AmericanFlatTrack.com.
Brown's RV Superstore is family owned and operated and stake their reputation on offering you the finest RVs available in their McBee, South Carolina RV dealership. Brown's RV Superstore carries motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and toy haulers, and keep a huge inventory of new and used RVs in stock for you to choose from. They offer top dollar for your RV trade-in and help you get the RV financing you need. As a part of the GNCC family, Brown's RV Superstore, in partnership with Vengeance Toy Haulers, offers sponsorship packages for every level of racer with discounts and continued savings on your new toy hauler. Brown's RV Superstore has dedicated themselves to complete customer satisfaction, specializing in providing a positive start to your RV adventure. They look forward to customers coming back to share their tales from the road. Call Brown's RV Superstore today at 877-805-3658 or visit their website at brownsrvsuperstore.com, where family fun begins. The Yamaha GNCC University returns, calling all ATV and motorcycle off-road racers. Are you looking to hone your riding and racing skills? Want to learn hands-on with the best of the best past and current GNCC racers and champions? Then sign up for the 2021 Yamaha GNCC University, returning to Snowshoe Mountain Resort June 23rd through the 25th. We're bringing together Yamaha's ATV and motorcycle racing elite to instruct in-depth courses and fundamentals of racing and riding. During the Yamaha GNCC University, students will participate in lectures about sportsmanship, training, proper nutrition, and mental preparation, along with hands-on hands-on skills and drills designed to improve your riding and confidence in a variety of terrain and situations. Reservations are on a first-come, first-served basis, with limited openings evenly split between the disciplines. For more details and to register, contact Snowshoe Mountain Resort at 877-441-4386.
And welcome back to GNCC Racing on RacerTV.com. And, of course, as we well know, basically the biggest part of the GNCC Racing Nation is consisting of amateur riders. Only 14 XC1 Pro riders out there of nearly 200 riders. So that tells you that probably about 90% of the riders or better are actually amateur riders on the race course with us. As we take a look at the rundown with that, Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, a former pro rider, as well as AJ Kuntz running 1 and 2. And we'll look a little closer at that in a few moments. Senior 840 plus classes, Brian Foltz and Brian Shaw running 1 and 2 with Brian Axline back in the number 3 spot. Chris Conklin in 4th. And it's Michael Hayes rounding out the top 5 in that senior A plus 40 class. Paxton Dickerson leading out of Vevey, Indiana over Damon Greishop. Chance Hickey in the number 3 spot. Kai Arbogast in 4th, and Jacob Fleming rounding out the top 5. Seeing some of those riders, former youth riders, moving up into the college B ranks, it looks like. Mikey Waynes. Junior B 22 plus class, Eric Karoger out of Greensburg, Indiana, is leading that one with Henry Moore, Nick May, William Wallace, and Shane McMillan rounding out the top 5 as we see our leaders at the 8-mile marker. Bryce Neill out there. Brian Abley leading that B30 plus class with David Kite, Ryan Leckrone, Ben Dunlop, and Tim White rounding out the top 5 at B30 plus class riders. As we look a little further into our senior B class now, Richie McCauley and Bobby McCauley, the brothers McCauley out of Elkins, West Virginia, running 1 and 2. Jason Kraft in 2nd, Richard Sievers in 4th, and 5th place Ivo Pahalek, as that is your senior B 40 plus class. And your senior rundown there is Bryce Neill, Cole Richardson, Walker Fowler, as we were talking about, Hunter Hart and Chris Borch, your top 5 in that class. And we've pretty much seen them going by in that order here at the FMF PowerPoint, or at least starting to, Mikey Waynes, as we pick the action back up out here. Mile marker number 10.
Yeah, just as we got done doing a stand-up down there at the Walker Fowler pits. Shortly after that, Mark Notman walked in. He had been out and about, and I asked him, I said, Mark, what's the deal with Walker? And he said, he banged up the bike pretty good. I mean, he bent some things up. So right now, obviously, you know, not bad enough to say, hey, let's call it a day, but bad enough that it's definitely affecting his ride. But just right now, Walker trying to limp this thing in, and you know, it's such a cliche to say, but it's days like this that championships are won. You know what I mean? I mean, if your bad day is sitting 3rd in an overall, that's a difference maker.
Yeah, it most certainly is. You know, I was wondering what that gap was starting to shape up like. There's DJ Judd running trail sweep for us right now. He runs the meet as well, the Monster Energy Activation Transport. He's our DJ and trail sweeper, so he's out helping in doing double duties here today. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. And tough break there for Walker Fowler, but man, I tell you, it looked like there at one point that Hunter Hart might be bridging that gap, but when we look at this now, there's no gap being bridged. If it is, it's not much. And to still be able to keep the pace that he's keeping and keep the rest of the riders at bay from 4th on back, then that says a whole lot about Walker Fowler, even under these circumstances, and what his bike is, I'm sure, handling like at this point, and keeping these guys from even thinking about making a pass. I'm sure if Hunter realized that there was blood in the water, he'd be circling.
Yeah, it's very possible. And Borich trying to jump back up there into those top riders there, so trying to reel in Hunter Hart right now, see if he can get it done. That rider there, the number 240 on the machine, sun's out, guns out. I love it.
Oh, you caught me off guard.
There he is. Yeah, see, he's ripping. He's putting on a show.
He sure is.
I threw you off, Ryan.
You did.
I had to throw it out there.
I kind of want to come back with something, but I'm not going to. 7-12, there is the now sophomore rider.
Yes.
John Glotta Jr. there in that, I believe, 6th place position, still holding on to that. You know, big question for me. You guys already answered that about Adam McGill. Tough break for Adam, man. Like I said, you know, yesterday I knew, you know, he said, and I'm starting to feel funny. He goes, hopefully I'll be able to finish tomorrow. I mean, and so if he says that, and you know how Adam McGill is, normally he would lie to you and tell you he's going to finish no matter what. But when he says that, you know, there might be a hint of something going on there. So hopefully he's going to be okay and be able to regain some energy and get back into this, man. I tell you, what a day to race out there. I know, you know, we always like the sunshine and stuff, but when it's overcast like this, even though it is dusty out here a little bit today, not overbearing, but even though it, you know, depending on where you're at, I guess, but even though, because you said it was pretty dusty down the finish line this morning, it's a really comfortable, great day to ride and a great day to race also.
Yeah, no doubt. And going back to McGill, I know Haley, you could tell she's very concerned back there about Adam and about Mark. I know you'd mentioned a little bit about Mark. He's back home. I don't know if you're watching, Mark, but we're thinking about you, dude.
No, we're not.
We miss you, mustache.
No, we don't.
Or miss your goatee now. I said, where'd the mustache go? He's like, I got tired of you calling me mustache.
Well, I just want to let Mark know that we've got the sound system working at prime. It doesn't matter if it's sitting next to your window anymore. You hear it everywhere, right, Mark. So when you come back, you're going to get woken up at 7 a.m. And, hey, welcoming out Scott Setkovic from Arma Sport, by the way. I noticed this morning when I was turning on the speaker towers at 6 a.m. that Arma had parked right next to one of the speaker towers, and I thought, oops. I don't know that Scott's really in tune so much with what happens at GNCC. I could only imagine at 7 o'clock when that first call of Good Morning GNCC.
About to get up.
He was up, you know, you see Pepe Le Pew on the ceiling of the old Looney Tune cartoons with the claws, and that's kind of why I imagine Scott being like this morning.
Yeah, guaranteed. Welcome to the GNCC Racing Nation.
And ArmaSport.com, glad to have them on board as well. This is a Dunlop weekend as well. I want to say good things about Dunlop, and special thanks to them. Motorcycle tires in general is what we look for out of those guys, but you know, they're great, great folks, a great group of guys. They got great contingency programs. So if you haven't checked those out, please do so. Stop on over and see them.
Very, very knowledgeable.
They are. I actually stopped and quizzed them yesterday.
Oh, nice.
They were pretty good. They were better at it. They knew more than I did about it. Let's put it that way.
I think Rob Fox of Dunlop, just him and his lady had a kid recently. So.
Oh, well, I knew that was on the way. Congratulations. And there is Bryce Neill trying to get the steam rolling back in his direction. Still got Cole Richardson back there, the freight train, if you will, pushing him around. But remember, this is the last time that we saw Bryson on the podium, but there's been a couple of races that he hasn't even finished the race, basically. So today, getting back to his winning way, this could set a pretty good standard for what the midway swing of this championship is going to be like, because we're going to be getting into that pretty soon as far as racing is concerned.
You know what's interesting about that, Rodney, is you look at the season that Bryce Neill has had and Cole Richardson, and they almost very similar seasons, I should say. Cole's ahead of him in points, but Cole's got a 6th, a 3rd, nowhere in the overall, and then a 2nd. So both riders, it's been feast or famine for them, and you can tell right now they're ready to change that.
And I know that's frustrating for both riders, I'm sure, but I think more so maybe for Cole Richardson, because he hasn't seen the successes. Even though he's gotten a couple wins in the last year or two and several podiums, he's still not performing at the level that he expects to perform at. There's Walker Fowler at the 10-mile marker now. But Cole Richardson is not performing at the level he expects of himself. And probably not the level, and you listen to Walker Fowler, he's not performing at the level that even Walker Fowler expects that he's capable of performing at. So, you know, I know we keep saying this, but Cole's had a few seasons where he was sick, you know, a little bit with the stomach issues and things of that nature. And, you know, he's had a lot of different things that he's had to combat with, injuries and things of that nature. I think that we still haven't seen the best of Cole Richardson yet.
I agree.
Bryce Neill in now. This will be for 3 laps complete, I believe. Yes. Okay, maybe that wasn't Bryce Neill. I thought that was Bryson going through there, but So anyway, he will be coming through. If that wasn't him coming through, he will be coming through here shortly for lap number 3 complete. And I'm believing, Mikey Waynes, that should set us up for a white flag. When you look at the timing and scoring right now, we are well over the 1 hour mark. Well, 1 hour, and we're approaching the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, and our leader is still not due in for 2 minutes, so we're still a couple minutes out. So that'll put us right at about the 1 hour and 29-minute mark, and with that, that should put us just under 2 hours, maybe an hour and 57 minutes or so, whenever the checkers fly on this one. And I got to tell you, I thought it was going to be a little slower. I thought it was going to be a little longer, especially for whatever reason. That first lap seemed to go on for what seemed like forever, yes. But the rest of the laps have, and I imagine the others as well, right there in that 28-minute range here for the last, for this second lap of racing. It'll be interesting to see if they pick it up or slow it down here. 28:01 was the lap time that Bryce Neill turned when he came through at the end of lap number 2. As he approaches the end of lap number 1, there he is right now into the finish line chicanes all by himself, Mikey Waynes. Last time through, Bryce Neill had 3.3 seconds on Cole Richardson. Let's see what that gap is now. I don't know that it's much bigger, if any bigger than that. Lap time 27:38. He 23 seconds. Took 23 seconds off that lap time that time around on lap number 3. So, wow, Bryson Neill is on some burners right now as far as that rate. 12.3 seconds now back to Cole Richardson. I thought that gap was opening up. It has quadrupled, or tripled anyway. No, quadrupled. It has quadrupled since in the last lap.
Now, I do know Neil's pit said, hey, if he's out front, if he's got a good enough lead, we may actually give him a splash of fuel. So it'll be interesting to see when these guys
So they haven't pitted yet, huh?
Well, they have, but I think it's just a precautionary, let's not, long laps, so let's not risk anything. Maybe throw some fuel in it.
Be interesting to see what their choice will be. 27:38 lap time, and Bryson probably does use a little more gas than the average rider out there. He rides that machine in a whole different RPM area than probably even Walker Fowler or any of the rest of the XC1 Pros. I mean, he is I don't want to say riding the rev limiter, but he is riding the ragged edge anyway. Getting every ounce of horsepower where he can, when he can. There's no doubt about it. White flag is waving, if you're wondering. So we are on the final lap of racing officially, as Ricky Towery has deemed that with that signal to the riders as they make their way through the finish line region here. Fowler was 23 seconds back at the end of lap number 2 behind Cole Richardson, waiting on timing and scoring to update here, which, he checked in 1 minute and 11 seconds back.
Wow. What a change from lap 1 when it looked like he was going to check out to later.
Now, this is something I think that we ought to keep an eye on, too. 50 seconds between Walker Fowler and Hunter Hart. Walker Fowler has obviously backed it down. Has Hunter Hart, with him backing it down, has Hunter Hart been able to make up some ground out there?
About to check in. Got a couple of lappers in front of him right here. You get the timing on it.
And my question is Walker Fowler at a slow pace still faster than one of the fastest up-and-comers on the program? A 28:28 lap time for Hunter Hart. He was only 7 seconds faster than Walker Fowler. So that gap now from 50 to 43.4 seconds. So gaining a little bit of time, but not loads of time, so to speak, as Chris Borich makes his way in now in that 5th place position from Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Borich is in now, 5 laps down, 28:48 for him. He turned about a 20-second lower or slower lap time than Hunter Hart. Hart certainly trying to make up for some of the lost ground that we saw him lose there in a couple rounds of racing. But man, I tell you, all in all, this is the one kid that we're keeping a very close eye on over the course of the next couple of years. We're watching him blossom just like we watched Bryson Neill blossom. We've been watching Cole Richardson blossom for the last few years. I mean, he hasn't completely blossomed yet. That's the amazing thing. And he's kind of like a morning glory. He goes in, he goes out, he goes in. So anyway, I'm looking for big things out of Hunter Hart, I guess is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we're on the verge of that right now.
I think it's one of those things as spectators, as folks watching at home, it's gotten to the point where we've now been watching these pro riders since they were running micros, since they were running Pee-wees. So it's almost like we have these expectations of, man, why isn't this guy clicking off wins yet? When in reality, the cliche, trust the process, that's what these guys are doing. And they're still very, very young and have a lot of racing ahead of them. And it's just not quite their time, but they trust the process, and they're making moves.
For sure. John Galata in sixth place aboard the number 712, now 26 seconds behind Chris Borich. Borich again in that number 5 position. Looks like Josh Merritt moving up from 8th. What's going on? He's getting out of the norm here. He's getting out of the consistency there. He's moving up to 7th. Somebody's going to have to slow him down. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that is funny. Once a rider seems to find a place in the pecking order, so to speak, they find themselves there quite often. Josh Merritt has found himself there, and he's satisfied being a consistent top 10 finisher. But he is wanting 7th. He is wanting 6th, and he's wanting to work towards those top 5s. And anytime that you talk with him, he'll let you know that. Bryce Neill through at the 2, as again he is looking at was looking at a 12-second lead, and is still about that 12 seconds, I think. Not really gained any more over Cole Richardson there on board the number 3 as the Cole train goes rolling through here in South Carolina. Again, Mikey, just looking at these course conditions, like we said, we knew it was going to be dry and dusty, and not expecting it to be ridiculously dusty, but some of those lower, some of the areas that are seeing a little bit more sun are getting a little bit more powdery, talcumy, if you will. That is a fine silk powder that we're looking at. And remember, at earlier races, I think this year, or maybe it was late last year, we were watching, it looked like waves of water, the way the dust was so silty and powdery. It was rather intriguing and interesting. I hope we don't get to that point here today. I believe that was late last season. It's funny how that all runs together.
Oh, yeah, they all start blending together.
Year after year. Yeah, and for some reason, it must be the old age. I keep wanting to call Lane Michael Landon for some reason. Michael Landon. I don't know why. Lane Michael Landon. It all, for some reason, all goes together for me. And I guess because Lane can make me cry sometimes. Whenever.
There you go. Yeah. See, and I'm the opposite. I get Lane Michael, and then I will say Lane McCormick, and I get them mixed up. One's a young ATV rider, one's a pro bike rider, but that's where my lanes get mixed up.
Yeah. Well, anyway, watching here at the 2-mile marker, Mikey, I got to say, I think the fans have been somewhat treated to some excitement out there, but at the same time, things have gone by pretty quickly. I mean, what we've seen with Bryce Neill and Walker Fowler, I kind of feel robbed at this moment, because especially with Cole Richardson being there, had Walker not had the issue, and had Bryson and had both Cole been able to reel in Walker, I mean, the idea, and I think you may have even mentioned, a possibility of a 3-way battle for the number 1 spot there at one point in this class was looming, and it was looming large, and it was really something to be excited about and something to be looking forward to. But I mean, just one split second and things can change. The whole race can turn around, and what we thought was still Walker Fowler leading turned out to be Bryce Neill in the lead, with Walker Fowler dropping off to the number 3 position. And I mean, literally in a blink of an eye, that kind of situation, that circumstance unfolded there.
It's interesting. Before or shortly after the starts, we ran an interview with Bryce Neill, and it was nice to get his thoughts, because we can sit here, fans at home and even us, we speculated, well, what's going on in Bryson's head, with the ups and downs of this season. And he kind of put it in perspective of, I think having the 2 weeks off in between rounds was good for him, because it gives him a chance to kind of sit back, assess things. Okay, obviously I'm not where I want to be in the point standings. At this point, I can either complain about it, I can throw in the towel, or I can go out and try to click off wins and learn. And you never know. I mean, anything can happen. It's still, I know we're getting into the thick of the season, and Walker seems to be kind of pulling away with it like he has, but that's no reason to put your head down and throw in the towel and give up, because anything can happen this year, and if not, it's a learning curve for you moving forward.
That's got to be inspiring for any Bryce Neill fans to hear him put it like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to learn. I mean, he's looking at the reality of it. He knows that anything can still happen, but as much as anything, he knows he still has a little to learn.
Right.
A lot to learn. I mean, I hate to put it like that, but
Sure.
I mean, you've got to get all your ducks in a row to beat Walker Fowler at this point. And I'm not taking anything away from Bryson or anything away from Bryson's program. I'm putting that much credit in Walker Fowler's program is what I'm doing.
Boy, he's moving right now. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, with social media, there's so much more pressure on professional athletes because, you know, you got two different kinds of fans. You got the fans chirping in your ear that it's your time, you're going to take Walker, and oh, you're the man. And then you got guys who are like, oh, you ain't nothing, you're never going to be Walker. So there's this constant mental juggle that professional athletes in all sports now have to face, and that comes with maturity, being able to figure out how to deal with that.
At our 4-mile marker, the Yamaha section, our riders go out and come back, so we get a look at them going away and a look at them coming back. Looks like that, I'm going to say that Cole Richardson has bridged that 12-second gap up probably about 4 seconds or so. So under 10 seconds, obviously, I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 seconds that separate first and second place position. Is this an indication that maybe Cole Richardson is starting to put a push on here on the final lap of racing? That could be exactly that. Is it an indication that maybe Bryson's starting to just settle in a little bit? Yep. It could be that as well. Again, we're just speculating. We don't know, but I know from a fan standpoint right now, and especially if you're a Cole Richardson fan, you're thinking Cole's getting up the steam. Yeah, so we're about ready to see it happen. And from a race announcer standpoint, that's what I'm hoping for too.
Yeah, let's see a wild finish. Let's see a wild one. We've had glimpses of it, but overall it's been kind of business as usual today.
No doubt. And to see Cole Richardson be able to rise to that occasion, it's going to be special. There's no doubt about that, because Cole's been looking for this time in his mojo and getting it all put together. Walker Fowler checking in about 1:15 now behind the first and second place positions here at mile marker number 4. Well, the guys are going to go out a little further. We'll see them back whenever they get near that 8-mile marker. Mikey, it is Bryce Neill leading Cole Richardson. Is Cole reeling him in? Will he be in the lead when they come out toward the checkers? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do. But who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
The directive: advance human performance beyond biological limitation.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This RacerTV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Donnie Griffith, veteran motocross, today at GNCC Tiger Run. And today we're going to talk about the veteran motocross suicide awareness build for the Warrior class and the AM class. This quad was originally built to bring awareness to veterans who commit suicide. If there's anybody out there who needs awareness and needs somebody to talk to, you need to reach out to somebody. It's very important. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about veteran motocross. Veteran motocross has three fundamental colors. The fundamental colors would be community. The second one would be therapeutic, and the last one would be accessibility. So community is a really big thing with us. There's a great community out there, a lot of support, and then there's a therapeutic aspect. I don't care what anybody says, everybody loves throttle therapy. And then the last one is going to be accessibility. When you join veteran motocross, there are a lot of sponsors, and they help you out awesome. And all of those tie back into the main point of veteran motocross, which is community. And the community isn't just about, I want to talk to you on Facebook. The community is about support, 110%. Everything about the community is about support, and everybody will help you in any way that they can. Tim Cotters and myself set up the Warrior class for both bikes and quads, and it is an awesome thing, which is for military only. It's in the AM for quads, and it's also in the AM for bikes as well. So far, I think the biggest turnout we had for quads is about 8 guys, and then I know the first round we had 18 bikes, and I couldn't tell you how many bikes are there, but it's an awesome class to set up, and if you want a competitive class or you just want to go out there and have fun, the Warrior class is perfect for you.
Welcome back to GNCC Live here from Big Buck Farm on RacerTV.com. I'm Rodney Tomlin. That's Mikey Waynes right there. And, of course, Mikey, everything that we had hoped that this Tiger Run GNCC would be completely different than the Big Buck GNCC that was held here at the end of February, opening up the 2021 season. We got some highlights that we can play. And if you don't believe me that it's different, totally different racetrack, different design, it's about 80% difference as far as the actual layout is concerned. And conditions are a lot different as well. As we take a look at this Specialized race recap, Mikey, this is the kind of way things went down there in round number 1 of the 2021 season. As they rounded the first turn, it was a mad dash to see who was going to be able to grab the early lead, and lo and behold, it was the 701, I believe, that got the results there, and Walker Fowler found himself down in that first turn, but nonetheless, you know, Walker Fowler is one of those riders. It doesn't take him long to work his way up through the pack, so that's what he put himself in a mission to do. All the while Bryce Neill was out front. He got himself out front and was able to start taking off. Actually, I believe Bryson went down in the second turn of that one as well, so, and still was able to establish lead by the end of the first lap, and Walker Fowler was closing in on him. But, you know, and again, look, you can see the muddier conditions, the ruts that were out there. We're not seeing the ruts today. We're seeing more drier, harder packed type circumstances and situations, and even in the open field sections, you can see a lot more moisture and the different style of breakdown. But it was all Bryce Neill on that day to kick off the 2021 season right here
at this particular property. And that guy right there, Hunter Hart, got himself a third-place position finish. And Walker Fowler, actually, I believe that was a, third place for Hunter Hart, and second-place position there for the number 1 of Walker Fowler. And Mikey, you know, not a lot has changed. I mean, we've seen a lot of the same battles between the number 2 and the number 1. The only thing is that Walker's been so consistent just finishing. And that's been the problem that Bryce Neill's had. He's not been able to complete a couple of these races, and that's what's got him so far back in the points. But when you look at the big picture, he's not as far back as what you think he would be after not scoring points in 2 rounds of racing.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the same way we look at it on the two-wheel side of things with Stu Baylor, who did not have didn't race in round 1 and then had a dismal round number 2. And, you know, in the words of Stu Baylor, what's the easiest way to get back up in the lead? Start clicking off wins. That's what Bryson's got to do, and so far that's what he's doing today.
Well, he's on his path to doing that, but I'll tell you right now, also on the path right behind him is that number 3 machine of Cole Richardson. Richardson has eclipsed that 12-second gap now. It's down, what was 12 seconds is down now to maybe 2 seconds as we've seen those riders going through the FMF PowerPoint.
Yeah, Cole has got the lasso out. He's trying to rope him in and reel him in. I'll see if he can make it happen here. A little bit of a gap there as they exited. But, yeah, Cole Richardson knows white flag's out. I ain't got a whole lot of time. I need a win as bad as Bryce Neill does.
Yeah, and you know that's what he's got to be thinking. But, you know, Cole Richardson's one of those riders. He's not going to take any unnecessary chances, at least especially not at this juncture in the race. We get down to a half mile or so away and he feels he's got second comfortably wrapped up, then there's a chance he might make some of those stabs in the dark out there to try to get around Bryce Neill. However, if that door is open any whatsoever, freight train's going to go blow through.
Oh, exactly. And the other thing, too, that both of them have to think about is who's the one guy out there you don't want beating you today? It's Walker Fowler. Well, he's sitting in 3rd. So you're right. I mean, it's a difficult decision to make. If I'm Cole Richardson, is it worth the gamble? The gamble doesn't pay off. I go down. Now I open the door for Walker Fowler to get up into the number 2 spot.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Cole Richardson currently 4th in points right now with 57 points. Bryce Neill, 55 points. There are 2 points that separate them. So, you know, maybe if Bryson's looking, or excuse me, if Cole's looking at it from a championship points race standpoint, he might go for it. Right. You know, might be a little more activated to try and make that pass on Bryce Neill. And like you said, both riders need to win. They both need to beat Walker Fowler right now. But if you can get 2 positions rather than 1 between you and that's just more points that you're going to be opening up there.
Yeah, exactly. Got the axe out, chipping away at that points lead, which is a big one.
It is a rather big one. 2 races, that's 60 points right there in and of itself. So, wow, heartbreaker there for Bryson. But, man, I mean, you would think, but the kid, when you talk to him, when you see him, his spirits aren't let down any. He's as confident and as secure as he ever was at any given point there. There is the number 1 of Walker Fowler now at this monster mile section of the race course, as he makes his way through, again, well over a minute behind the front 2 riders of Bryce Neill and Cole Richards. You know, the good thing about it for Walker Fowler, I mean, you know, he's still able to maintain that points lead. He might have, you know, not get the win that he would like to get at this point, but, you know, little tree clip and just gives him a chance to relax a little bit. Let those guys go out, get maybe some false senses of security, because I'm sure he's thinking, I had this in the bag. Had I not made that little mistake, it'd be a totally different race right now. And that's kind of what we're thinking too. I mean, I think that, you know, those guys would have been a lot tighter, and, you know, I was expecting and hoping for that 3-way battle we were talking about. And it's coming. It will be here. We will see that happen. There is Hunter Hart, and this is another kid that we're going to be seeing, I think, a lot more greater strides out of in the coming season, and throughout the rest of this season and the coming years as well. Hunter Hart, honestly, taking a little more time than I anticipated and expected for him personally to mature in this XC1 class, but at the same time, like you were pointing out there a little bit ago, you know, the way that the flow of the class and the way it all works, you know, it's okay a little bit of time, especially when you look at who that he's battling with. I mean, Walker Fowler, to think that you're going to come straight in and be that kind of competitor and be a championship contender even 3 years into the class is kind of a stretch, I think.
Yeah,
unless you're Walker Fowler.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Walker literally was one of the few that was able to pull something like that off. I don't know that I've seen any other riders when I look back on history. I don't recall any, and a lot of it happens because we didn't have the XC2 class for a lot of years. But even those guys that moved in, it still took them a while to be competitive. Unlike Walker, who was winning overalls while he was in the XC2 class.
Ridiculous.
And speaking of overalls, we were talking about that a few moments ago, Mike. I don't know if you caught this or not, but Jay Shadron at the end of lap number 1 was all the way up to a 12th place overall position. Get this, the junior A22 plus class rider, 9th place overall. Somebody get that boy a ride and get him back to the front row. I think he's still got the speed to run with the guys up there. I think it's just a matter of a support program, and he doesn't train for it, right? You know, so I mean, there's a lot of variables there, and I'm sure, just like anybody else and everybody else, once you get back in that class, it's not going to be as easy as what it looks like on paper, you know.
Lose that time adjustment. Makes a big difference.
It does. It most certainly does. And right now, Jay Shadron using that to his advantage. As far as second place in the overall amateur right now, it was, I believe, a college A class leader, and we are still looking at that as being Lane McCormick. Yes, Lane McCormick now 21st place overall. Junior A second place rider Jeremy Ladon, the number 99, 23rd overall, would be considered third top amateur overall at this particular point in the race. If you're looking back through the standings right now and try and keep up with things of that nature. As far as the overall top 20 are concerned, as our riders make their way past the FMF PowerPoint out here at mile marker number 10. Those are the kind of things that can cause a little bit of an issue, but there's still plenty of racetrack there for these riders to ride upon and not have to worry about so much. But through that top 10, as we told you, Neill, Richardson, Fowler, Hart, Vorge, your top 5, Glada Jr. in 6th, Merritt in 7th, McClure in 8th, Jay Shadron 9th overall, 10th overall, Austin Abney, Greg Cover is 11th, Brandon Owens, leader of the XC2 Pro Am class, 12th overall, 13th overall, the 714 of Ronnie Rush, now 20 seconds back in that second place position. Adam McGill is 14th overall, Ben Kowalewski is 15th overall, 16th is Wyatt Wilkin, Johnny Gallagher 17th, Wesley Wolf celebrating his birthday today, 18th overall, Kenny Schick 19th overall, and Dylan Walraven rounds out your top 20 here in the final lap of racing. We are about a minute and 40 seconds out before we expect to see our leaders making their way to the finish line. The big question that is, I believe, on the tips of a lot of folks' tongue right now is, will the number 3 of Cole Richardson make that challenge and make that bid to steal the win away from the number 2 of Bryce Neill? And remember, it looked like he was putting himself in position, and we always talk about you, and people always say it, put myself in position to take the win. He made a mistake on the last lap. I had myself in position, and I was able to get around. Will Bryce Neill make that mistake? Will Cole Richardson be able to capitalize on it? Will they go head-to-head? Who will come out on top? The answer to these and many more questions will be answered in less than a minute or so as these riders traverse their way toward the finish line here at this Dunlop Tires GNCC, and of course the Tiger Run GNCC, home of the Big Buck. And there is Walker Fowler making his way through, well over a minute, as we said, a minute and a half or so between the second and third place positions. We're hearing some machines outside the TV trailer, which could indicate that our leaders are making their way a little closer to that finish line region. And as they work their way and inch their way closer to the checker flag, we're going to find out here soon who's going to come out on top. Is Cole Richardson going to pull the rabbit out of the hat? Will Bryce Neill be able to keep on target and take the big win and get the redemption here at this Tiger Run GNCC? Riders again due in any moment now. According to timing and scoring, they should be checking in at any given moment. And as they do, we will certainly give you the call, the play-by-play, and let you know how it all is unfolding here in Union, South Carolina, for this 5th round of GNCC racing. There's Hunter Hart back in the number 4 position now as he still tries to lay chase to a podium position finish. And speaking of podiums, here comes the man that's going to be center of that podium, in the center of that box, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryce Neill rounding, and it's redemption time here at Big Buck Farm as Bryce Neill takes the win here at the Tiger Run GNCC. Wow, what an exciting win for Bryce Neill to finally be back up on top after the issues suffered earlier in the season. The win here to open the season up. The dry spell in round 2 in Florida, DNF. He got 2nd in Georgia, DNF just a couple of weeks ago at Camp Coker, but back on top. It's redemption day for Bryce Neill now as we wrap this race up in a time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 37 seconds, about a minute and a half quicker than I anticipated it to be finished up. But regardless of what the time was, it was a great time for that number 2. There's no doubt about it. I know that number 3 of Cole Richards got to be pretty stoked as well. He ends up 10.4 seconds back at the end of that one. 28.06. He actually turned a little faster lap time than Bryce Neill, but he still had 10 seconds to spare at the checker flag. Walker Fowler should be due in about any time now as we wait the number 1. He had some 43 seconds. I'm going to say closer to a minute on Hunter Hart when we saw them there at the 10-mile marker a few moments ago. So Fowler, again, as Mikey Wayne said, your championships are won on your worst days sometimes. But this guy right here, he had a great day today, and he has remounted that bid for the 2021 championship. It's Bryce Neill with Mikey Waynes.
Well, thanks, Rodney. Yeah, Bryce Neill, man, we played your pre-race interview early on in the show. You talked about the season you've had so far, the ups and downs, to say the least. This one's got to feel good.
So many things going through my head right now. I needed this win bad. I wanted the last 2. We've had a couple races with some things that's been out of our hands that's happened that's took us down, took us out of the race. But you know what? After that last race, I went home and man, I took a few days. I worked all winter at this, and I come out and battle walk for the championship all year long. I really wanted it, but I took a few days, and I was a little bit bummy, and I was like, you know what? I'm still fast. I'm still healthy. My stuff's still working great. Let's just go back to the drawing board. Let's work hard, and let's just go try to win races. And that's all we're trying to do. We're just so happy to get the job done here again at Big Buck. Today was a dry, fast, straight-up, hot, dusty race, and man, these CST tires, Elka shocks, they were working phenomenal all day, and I'm just pumped. I'm so excited that we got this win, and hopefully keep on pushing forward to the next one, Ironman, and then on to our home track at Athens.
There you go. You got the momentum, man. Now, what's the mindset now coming off this win, heading into Indiana in a couple of weeks?
We just want to win. It's just when we rode up to round 1, when we unloaded the bike out of the trailer, we worked winter. We just want to win races, and we had those 2 bad ones, but we're going to try to go and make the best of the rest of it and win as many as we can.
Bryce Neill stays perfect here at the Big Buck property, taking the win here at the Tiger Run GNCC.
Well, he gets the inaugural win of 2020, or the Tiger Run GNCC, and the opening round win of 2021. So Bryce Neill's got some great notes here in the first 5 rounds. Also a 2nd place position finish, but as he said, a couple not so good races, and all he's going for is wins, and whatever happens at the end of the championship season is what happens, and that's just the way that things are going to go. I tell you, speaking of the way things go, Cole Richardson had things going well his way today. Couldn't find that position that he wanted to put himself in there in the closing moments to steal the lead away from the number 2 machine, but still a valiant effort, a valiant ride by the Cole train himself as he posts up a 2nd place position finish here today at the Tiger Run GNCC. And If you're wondering, has Walker Fowler checked in yet? Yes, he has. 2 minutes, 12 seconds back. And just to give you an idea, his 29.08 lap time was 1 minute slower than Bryce Neill. Now, I don't know if that means that Bryce Neill was going that fast or Walker Fowler is still pretty fast, even under not the most optimal conditions, because he was a whole minute or so faster than Hunter Hart. The gap 1 minute and 2 seconds actually between Walker Fowler and fourth place position of Hart there. So it is Bryce Neill, Cole Richardson, Walker Fowler 1, 2, and 3. And I got to say, Bryce Neill may have won this one with a little bit of an explanation point today, but that rider right there that might keep the explanation point from being so bold is Cole Richardson, as we check in down at the finish line region with Mikey Waynes and the second place finisher today, the Cole Train.
Well, Cole, man, second place finish today. Another day at the office for you.
Yeah, you know, we got off to a decent start. I got sideswiped pretty hard and covered in a puddle there in the third corner, and we were riding good. Got a stick through the Nerf bar, had to get off and get resituated. Bryson got around me, and I truly, you know, honestly think I was the fastest one out there today. We just weren't in the right position, and that's kind of, you know, kind of hindered at us, and he would open up a 10-second lead. I'd close it, 10 seconds, close it, and you know, he had the dust on his side. He rode really well, and you know, I'm pumped to be on the box.
Cole, big congratulations to you, man. Obviously, speed was there for you today. What's it going to take to see Cole Richardson center of the box this season?
You know, I know we got second, but how I was feeling was awesome. I did some testing with Kenda, fixed a lot of issues with the front tires, and you know, obviously we didn't win today, but I think just watching and the aggression I had and being able to corner and ride like I did, you know, aside from second, I think you're going to see me in the center of the box on the podium, you know, rest of the season.
There you go. You heard it right here, folks. Cole Richardson taking second place today.
All right. Congratulations to Cole Richardson, second place position here today. And, of course, with that, that takes us down to our third place position finisher, Walker Fowler, who had 3 wins in a row coming into this one, dropping to the number 3 position here. But what a great salvage. And like you said earlier, Mikey, your championships are won on your worst days. And this so far has been the worst day for the number 1 of Walker Fowler, and it still yielded him a third place position finish. It's kind of neat, I think, that our top 3 riders all wearing the 1, 2, and 3 numbers here today, just a little bit mixed up and jumbled up as far as the results in those numbers are concerned. But Mikey Wayne's in the process of finding Walker Fowler here, and we'll get a word in with Walker and talk a little bit with him about what this race day was like and what did exactly happen to put him in the position that he just settled into that third place and salvaged what he could out of the day. I'm sure it's a rather interesting story, as they always are, the tales of the race here in GNCC Racing.
Well, Walker, you were running out front early in this one. Next thing we know, you're back in third. I went to the pits. I said, what the heck happened? They said he stopped for ice cream. But really, you hit a tree, man. What the heck happened out there today?
There we go, right? Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at hitting stuff. Basically went in the woods off the start, cranked the tree, and the steering splines are all bent, and pretty sure I bent the frame, so tried to push as hard as I could the first lap. The bike wouldn't turn to the right, which luckily everyone had their head in their butt, and I was able to get a bit of a lead. And then obviously I know Bryson probably had a bad start, and I'm not sure where Cole was. I know Borich was back there, and then I was kind of by myself, so I just tried to move forward. That's really funny. Tried to just keep the bike moving forward, and then that second lap I got to a spot where I just couldn't turn, hit another tree. Not hard, just I tried to turn, and I wasn't going to make the corner, so I had to get off the bike, and then my tether cord got wrapped around the handlebars, and then yeah, just it was a track that you need to be able to steer and have a good setup, and we just missed it. So that's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it, man. You've said it yourself. We've said it in the booth. If these are your bad days, this is where championships are won.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's still a good points day. I wish Cole could have got that win. Would have helped with points, but congrats to Bryson. Those guys came by. Just looked smooth as butter. So, you know, I just got to watch him ride into the sunset. Nothing I could do today. So, congrats to him and Cole. And, yeah, just third place sucks, but you know, it's still decent points. It's managing that you know, that points gap, and yeah, like we'll just keep moving on. We'll get this thing straightened out. And Big Buck just didn't like me this year, so found a lot of trees and a lot of earth. What do? You clean her up and fix it, and we'll go kick some ass next race.
There you go. On to Indiana. Congratulations to Walker Fowler.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to give a shout out to my whole team. Mark Nauman does a fantastic job. The whole WFR Yamaha GBC Fly Racing Yamaha team, and yeah, all these awesome sponsors. Thank you, guys.
There you go. Back to you, Rodney.
All righty. Congratulations again to Walker Fowler on third, and your winner once again, Bryce Neill, taking this one here at Big Buck for the second visit here at the Tiger Run GNCC. We got, looks like Bryce Neill, Cole Richardson, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, your top five with John Glotta, Josh Merritt, Jared McClure, Jay Shadron from the Junior A class, 9th place overall. Austin Abney, 9th in class, 10th overall as you look at the time adjustments. And we are still waiting on XC2 Pro Am riders to check in. Nope, take that back. Congratulations to Brandon Owens as he checked in with a big win there in XC2 Pro Am. Stick around. I believe we got a little bit more here from the Turner Family Farm in Union, South Carolina's GNCC Live. We'll be back tomorrow with all the great race coverage of the two-wheel action. Be sure and join us right about 1 o'clock as we go head-to-head. Returning will be Thad Duvall back as he was with the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team. Also, don't forget Trevor Bollinger and all the riders will be back with us tomorrow as that'll wrap things up for us here today on this Saturday ATV day. For all of us at RacerTV and Mikey Waynes, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.